I've only told very few people about it. So, 1982, with a bunch of friends in a park in Brooklyn, New York. Tall buildings, but I was in a little section with like in a park, standing with a friend of mine, good friend of mine, and I was pregnant with my first child. No drugs, no drinking, no anything, and a teenager. Thank God it all worked out. But I just was talking to him, about anything, and he just turned around, and I looked up, and it came right over. They were, maybe 40 feet in the air, right over my head, and I, looked up, and I was like, oh, what is that? It went all sorts of ways. When I tell you, like the typical saucer, but it was like red and green and yellow and blue and like, but I do remember the purple. Like, what the heck am I looking at? Like right over my head. And turned around to my friend, and I said, what the hell is that? And he was maybe 30 feet away from me at that point, where he was standing right in front of me, like right next to me. So I looked at him, and I was like, Mitty. And he turned around and he said, what's the matter? I was like, what the hell was that? And he's like, what are you talking about? The lights. What was that? So it went on, and I saw like other friend, like a minute later, talked to other. I said, did anybody see that? They're like, what are you talking about? I said, oh, I'm going to go home now. I started walking to the bus, and my friend John Burns, who worked for UPS, came over to me and said, where you going? I said, I'm going home. He goes, me too. I said, did you? He said, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. I'm going home too. We both split into, like, I went towards my bus and he went towards his bus, and we never spoke of it again. And yeah, it was scary. And then the next day, my friend Mitty, who I didn't even know had my phone number, called me and said, did you see the newspaper? And I said, no, I was, 15 years old. I was like, no. He's like, yeah. What you saw? They saw in Staten Island. They saw here. They saw there. I was like, oh, so other people. He's like, yeah, it was in the newspaper. So I have literally looked for the newspaper article. I have not seen it. It was a, even though like New York, Brooklyn was there's small towns within little newspapers. I couldn't find it, but yeah. So other people saw it, Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Completely, when they say like a saucer shape, it was round. It was round, and it was like completely round. Probably the size of like maybe 2 or 3 like city buses. And it came like maybe, it was maybe 4 stories ahead of my head. And then I looked up, and it went, like to the left, to the right, to the left, and, like shot off. And in that, that's all it took for me to say, Vinny, what the hell was that? And he was nowhere near me. He was behind me. I was like, and I have never had, like, they say, oh, you had an experience. It's like, I had that experience. I don't think I was taken or anything. I don't know if it was like a time thing. I don't, like, I never saw anybody. It was lights. It was spinning. It was clearly a vehicle.
This happened in New Mexico, where I'm at. This was in the 90s. This was when my grandma was still alive. She has her house in one area, then my house is kind of like, let's see, about half a football field away. And we have the little solar lights, so we can walk back and forth. And my grandma likes to go to bed early. So I was over there just staying with her, seeing if she needed anything. So she went to bed, so I stayed there for a little bit while, because sometimes she'll get up and wants to call my name, but I'm not there. So I stayed there for a while. Then all of a sudden she went to bed and just big bright light came. I saw in the kitchen. Like, what is that? So I looked over there. Big old bright light came and it disappeared. Then right when the light disappeared, there was three little people with big eyes, big black eyes. There was three of them walking around. And at this time, we had no camera, no pictures or anything. So I'm just sitting there, I'm getting goosebumps saying this now. I was just looking at through my grandma's window, and I was looking at it. And they were just walking around, looking around. So I wonder what they're looking for. And they're small. They say about a good 2 feet. And they were no hair, nothing, just plain skin, pale. And they were walking around, looking around. So I was just sitting there, curious, looking around. All the dogs stopped barking. They didn't bark or nothing. They just they were scared. Then all of a sudden they started messing around with the solar lights. They were intrigued by it. They'll go over there and they poke it and they'll poke it. And the other one, I don't know, the other one saying something like that. I don't even know what they were saying, but I could hear it. And he was pointing at the other one, like, and the other one will walk over there and starts poking it. And they poke it and they look at it. They were curious. They were walking around it, looking at it. I'm just sitting there staring at it, like, oh, this is really happening. Then after that, both of them, my grandma has a sheep corral there. So they started walking towards the sheep corral. And over there it's dark. There's no light or there's nothing there. So I don't know what happened over there. And all I could do is I could just hear the sheep running around. I guess they were chasing it or doing something. I don't know what they were doing. So after that, I woke up my grandma. I told her, and we went over there. And sure enough, I guess when I woke up my grandma and everything, I guess they took off at that time. So we got our flashlight and everything. We looked over there, and sure enough, there was 4 dead sheep there. And we looked at it real good, and sure enough, this whole thing was cut real nice and clean. For us native people, we don't deal with that, burying it and just getting rid of it. We didn't tell nobody. I said, yeah, I told my grandma, there's no point in telling no one. No one's gonna believe us, and we're gonna get a lot of people here exploring, getting this site shut down. Getting this place shut down, and there's gonna be a lot of people here. Yeah, so that's what happened. I was like about 14, 15 at the time when this happened.
So like the color of them, you said they were pale. Were they pale gray? Pale?
Yeah, pale gray.
Gray, okay.
They were skinny.
Were they wearing clothing?
No, they weren't wearing no clothes at all.
Okay, so I live in Houston, and Houston, believe it or not, is super active day and night. And my first experience first encounter I had was back in 99, 98, 99, when we used to use them beepers. So there's a freeway, which is 45 north, takes you to Dallas. And if somebody's familiar or from Houston, there's a street that crosses 45. It's a freeway, and I was at the traffic light, and my aunt was in front of me, and I'm always, just staring up in the sky and just whatever, randomly driving and looking, whatever. So that day, I happened to look up to my left side, and there's a cemetery there. And I see 2 flashing lights. They were bright, super bright, and it was that, like the white from the ambulance, that color. I don't know what color it is. Super bright, yeah. Well, I see them flashing, and it's like what really got to me was that they were playing tag. It seemed to me that they were playing tag with each other, because it's like one was going to the right, the other one will follow, and it's like zigzag, boom, 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 up and down, Well, I'll see this. It's for several seconds, and I'm honking at my aunt, and I'm trying to see her at the same time and point at the same time. So I'm honking, and I'm, look up, look up. Well, yeah, of course, they left. Yeah, but that was my first experience ever.